That's right.
Hey, g'day guys, welcome to Racing for James. We are here with a video, something a little bit different for us. As you can see, we are driving, but the steering wheel isn't being used. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a voiceover. I wanted to film this race. We have been absent from YouTube for a couple of weeks, as you've seen. And the reason for that, it was James had some planned surgery that we've been waiting for, and we finally got the call up to go and make that happen. So the race you're watching here is the BMW M2 from Laguna Seca. We are driving in top split as we always do. Our I rating is starting to improve now, so we get put with some fast guys. So sit back, enjoy the racing, and we'll have a bit of a chat about what James has been up to over the last couple of weeks. So as I mentioned in that intro, guys, we were away. It's been about at least 2 weeks now since we've put any content on YouTube. You may have seen some Facebook post updates if you do follow our social media channels. But basically, we have been away for some pre-planned surgery for James. Now that surgery, it was supposed to happen back in October last year. So we effectively found out that we were planning on this surgery from about April last year, so it's been about a year-long process now. And we had planned for it to occur in April. That was the original plan. So what happens? We're in Australia here, and we've got a pretty good healthcare system. And what actually happens is that you get categorized, and when he went in to meet the surgical team and with his physios and his general health team, they put him on the emergency list, as I do that in the camera because I don't know which way's left and right. So he was on the emergency list, which effectively means that the surgery is generally within 6 months of that initial consult. And the reason for that is to prioritize patients based on need, etc. So we obviously, as I said just before, found out about that in April last year, and we'd planned for the remainder of the year to get him ready for surgery, to get him as strong as we could, and just prep him mentally for that process. And then obviously come October, we didn't get any calls. Come November, we didn't get any calls. And then by the end of November, we sort of thought, well, it's not going to happen this year. And then obviously over Christmas, I went and did some push bike riding and broke my ribs and pelvis and did all those weird and wonderful things, which took care of that whole Christmas period. And then in probably February I think it was, maybe late February, we found out that the surgery was then going to be in April. So we obviously had ourselves pretty prepared for that, and obviously the eventuality that may not happen in April as well, because obviously emergencies come up and these things are inherently more difficult to organise. That said, we are super lucky here in Australia to have this healthcare system. It's all free of charge through the system for a lot of people. It's just a matter of waiting for those appointments to come up. And the benefit of private health is that you can get in ahead of schedule with these, because obviously you're paying a premium for that. But this sort of healthcare, there's nothing wrong with going through the system that is designed there to support these children. So the extended time, so as I mentioned, it was supposed to be in October. It ended up being in April. So we had effectively a year of strengthening and planning. And to talk to what the surgery was, first of all, I guess, because you're wondering what we were surgerying and what we were surgerying, and that's not even a word, but we make stuff up here. So the surgery was on James's legs. So he had what's called an abductor release and guided growth. And I'll talk to those as we go through this episode, so you understand what happened and where things were. But the strengthening part, so effectively the goal pre-surgery, any surgery, you need to get your body prepared for it. So we spent a lot of time doing Pilates, physio, stretching, as much exercise as we could with him. And that exercise is just standing, squats, kicking, so we get him kicking a soccer ball from his wheelchair. There's a few little stretches we do to really just try and get those muscles moving. And we certainly noticed over the course of that 12 months, his maturity and the way he'd grown was unreal. Like he knew that he was going in for surgery. He knew that he had to get himself strong, and he took really good ownership of that. It was just unreal to see. So we're super impressed with that side of things. But yeah, it ended up giving us that extra 6 months of that strengthening time, which is invaluable really when we're dealing with children like James, and every opportunity you can get to keep them strong is exactly what we need to do. So we touched on what the surgery was going to be, obviously, abductor release and guided growth. But what is that? Well, it's something that we've seen developing for James over the course of his life. He's now 13. And it is something that affects his legs, obviously. So this photo on the side here is James sitting in his wheelchair. Now, if you have a close look at that photo and you have a look at his left leg, you'll see that it's actually quite a bit shorter than his right leg, and it actually pushes over into his right leg as well. Now, that is the abductor muscle, because like normal children would do from a very young age, they're up getting used to those muscles, using them, running around, doing jumps and everything else to activate those muscles. With a lot of wheelchair users and children with complex disabilities, they don't use their legs. So these muscles don't grow, they don't develop. And what ends up happening with these kids is that they get what's called hip dysplasia. Now, in my full unmedical training, basically what happens is the muscles in the legs don't get used, so they become tight. And what happens is they, instead of growing and stretching, they don't extend like they're supposed to. And what that does is it allows the muscles to pull tighter, which actually pulls the hip socket out, the hip ball out of the socket, causing the hip to effectively dislocate. As I said, it's called hip dysplasia. Now, James has yearly x-rays to monitor that, and it got to a point where it's about 40% displaced, which is a substantial amount. It would be causing him quite a sizable amount of discomfort, although he absolutely owns that and doesn't show any signs of pain. It's something that we're conscious of, that we wanted to provide a bit of quality of life for him. So effectively, we've been doing physio, and that physio to strengthen the legs hasn't helped the hip pull back into place, because it's been such a long time of very limited use of his legs. Well, that said, he can do squats from all the way on the ground. He can do sit-ups, and I'll link in the first lot of the comments there an actual workout that we do with him, which is a hell of a lot of fun, and he loves it. But he just doesn't use his legs enough to get the full benefit of those muscle groups. And it also makes things like getting him dressed or getting him changed quite a lot more difficult, because you've really got to wrestle with his legs to get his pants on or what have you. So it just makes it that little bit harder and a bit more frustrating for him to deal with on the daily as well. So surgery day, guys. Well, surgery come around, we're obviously pretty anxious and nervous actually leading up to it. As you are, like when your kids undergo surgery, it's always a huge undertaking. But we've spent a fair bit of time in hospitals, less than some people, more than some people. But we have a really good trust for the system. So this time around, it was our turn to get in there very early. We had to be in at 7 a.m. And it turned out James was one of the first children off the floor and into the operating theatre, which is good. It means it got it out of the way for him as well. It wasn't a long day of sitting in the waiting room, just waiting to go under, not having eaten or drinking or anything like that. So it was really good that he got to go in first. And the surgery itself took a bit over an hour, I believe it was, somewhere around that mark, and then obviously the recovery time frame from there as well. It was pretty wild. Like, we obviously had no idea on what was going on. They were literally going to cut his muscles and put some stitches in his knees, which sounds really crude just to put it like that, but that's exactly what they do. So we sort of figured it was a pretty simple process, but then as you start talking to the doctors and the surgeons and the anaesthetists and all that, they start going through obviously pain management and all of those sort of things. Now, the thing you may notice with James, you would have seen him in videos before, and if you haven't, again, there'll be a link below to see James driving in the simulator. He's non-verbal, so we rely on cues from him to see how grumpy he is, whether he's in pain, whether like he needs something or what have you. So the consensus from everyone was just to load him up on some painkillers while he's under general anaesthetic, which you do anyway. Surgery is not a fun thing, and it can be quite a painful experience. And we didn't know what to expect. Obviously, we just don't know. It's a guessing game for us. It's a guessing game for him and the medical teams. But they've got all the cool drugs that can take that stuff away. And obviously, while he was under, given they were operating on his legs, they had to put blockers in to relax all of the muscles to allow him to be cut and stitched and whatever. So it was quite funny when he come out. He was obviously pretty dopey from all the medical drugs in his system, but he also couldn't feel his legs, which would have been quite a weird sensation for somebody waking up from surgery, like knowing he was going in, but waking up without the expectation that was going to happen. But I can tell you right now, he handled it like an absolute trooper. Here's a not that way. Here's my left and right. So again, that way is a photo of James as he come out of surgery. So this was actually the very first moment, or one of the very first moments, where we saw him up in the ward. We were just waiting outside. We'd been out for a coffee and a bit of a morning snack because we didn't want to eat in front of him or do anything like that while he was fasting. So we managed that time while he was under the knife, and he come back to the room quite a happy chappy. It was unbelievable, and it's an absolute testament to the nurses and the medical staff in the hospital who deal with these kids daily, and this is the job they choose to go and do, and these kids wake up without their parents in the recovery ward, and they can just take care of them. We are so lucky. I've said it time and time again, and to all of our friendship group and everyone who knows James and knows us, our experience with the medical teams has been second to none, and that sort of stuff just goes to show why, because they're so good. They're so good. Like the kid's scared. He's got no idea what's going on, and he comes out of that room happy, happy to see mum and dad again, and happy that the surgery is all over. It was really cool to see him there, and he was ready to go and take on the world. So what did the hospital have in store? Well, he was awake from surgery. He was up and ready to go, and obviously the very first thing anyone wants after not eating or drinking for near on 18 hours by that stage is get some food into the young fella and just make sure that he was nice and comfortable. So that was a huge part of the day. We were back in the room by about, I think it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon, somewhere around that mark. So we'd organised to get him a bit comfortable, get him sitting up a little bit and eating and drinking. As you can see, right there is the man himself. He's going to come over here now and say hi because we're talking about him. But basically, the plan for the day was to get the family down. His brother Mitchell was at school, so we wanted to just make sure that he could come and see brother, as little siblings and other family members do. They worry. They might not admit it, but they generally do, and they want to make sure they're all okay. So we'd organised to start getting brother to come down and see James as well. But the first day was pretty cruisy. James was just, as I mentioned, recovering from the anaesthetic and getting the sensation back in his legs. We were managing pain and keeping those things up to date. So it was really a quiet day in the hospital. It was awesome to get little Mitchell there. He bought James a couple of presents. We got his communication device back so he could play his little car games and do some talking with us, and just spent the evening relaxing in bed basically, which was nice. It was again a nice quiet evening in the hospital. They take care of the observations, everything really well, making sure the kids don't get too disturbed during the night, and it was really quite a relaxing night, as far as you could put it for staying in a hospital. But that's what you want. You don't want it to be a stressful experience, and it can be quite easily a very stressful experience. So on to what you would effectively call day one, so the Thursday after the surgery. First thing in the morning, James had at that time what we'd understand would be his last dose of painkillers. It was unbelievable. He didn't take anything through the night, not at all. He slept through. He must have needed to sleep, absolutely needed it. So he slept through and woke up in the morning. We thought, well, the plan on day one is to get him up and out of bed, get him up standing if we can. And as I mentioned just previously, we weren't sure how his pain management was going for himself. So we thought, well, we'll give him another dose and just make sure he's on top of it. And I don't know if you've ever had endone. That stuff's wild. It certainly knocked him around a little bit, in a good way, like not in a bad way, but it's always an interesting experience. But that ended up being his last dose of the medicine. He, from that point, didn't want any. It wasn't that he didn't like it, he didn't understand it, he just flat out didn't need it. His recovery was unbelievable. I was so impressed to see how he handled that mentally. So we met with the doctors in the morning, and as I said, by lunchtime the plan was to get him out of bed, and this was bearing in mind only 24 hours after surgery at that point. So we managed to get his shoes and socks on, and then the plan was to do a standing transition from the bed into his wheelchair, which went really, really well. Like, no issues whatsoever, none. So we decided we'd go for a lap or two up and down the hallway. There's a bit of a playroom at the end of the corridor, some basketball games and just different toys and that to keep the kids amused. And when we're out in the hallway, we met Nan and Grandad. They'd come down to visit James and say hi as well, so that added to his motivation. But as we were sort of exploring, the nurses were just blown away. Like, he was controlling his wheelchair like normal. He had his legs all sorted out and doing what they needed to do. So they just said, go and do what you want to do. So we decided that we'd go for a bit of a walk around the hospital. Obviously we needed coffee at that stage. Not James, he doesn't drink coffee yet. He likes to grab a sip of coffee when we make a coffee because he thinks it's hilarious. But we decided to go get a coffee and explore. Now let's see if I can get it right this time. This photo on the side is 24 hours after surgery, guys. Outside in the playground, living his best life, smiling. That's unbelievable. Like, I don't know what the expectations were, but we were told that he'd be in hospital for a week. So we obviously thought, okay, a good couple of days in bed to get himself going and ready. And that 24 hours after surgery in the playground is amazing. As a parent, it was so amazing to see, and I sent that photo to Kaylee. And yeah, it was just really, really cool moment to see that this kid dominate the surgery and the recovery phase. So following that obviously first day out, 24 hours after surgery, we got back up to the ward, and the nurses did their rounds in the evenings, and basically they said to us on day one, if he keeps up recovering like this, there's no reason you guys can't go home tomorrow. So that would be day 2. Literally day 2. So we'd, as I mentioned, planned to be in hospital for about a week, was what we were told. But he was up off painkillers, raring to go, and with the full prospect of getting out on day 2, which was just amazing. So the evening went much like the previous evening, no painkillers. He actually went to bed super early. For James, it was very, very early, which is good. He must have been bloody exhausted, let's be brutally honest. But he got a really, really good night's sleep again, which was good. He needs to rest, obviously. So day 2 rolls around. Again, nurses come around in the morning, check him over, and we get him up into his wheelchair. And he's a free agent. So we had to quickly do the ring around. So Kaylee was still working. I had taken the time off to look after him in hospital, and not planning to get out at least before the weekend. We didn't leave a car at hospital, so we had to phone, Mum, come and get us. So we organised that, and we were gone by 1 o'clock on day 2. So he was in hospital for 48 hours for surgery. Unbelievable. So we got home and just planned to chill out. Like, our main focus now was just relaxing and let him recover post-surgery. We were expecting to be in for a lot longer than we were, so we managed to get home and enjoy the weekend as well, which was really, really nice. But what does home look like for James? Well, this photo going to get it right one day. This photo on this side here is James. So what's he got on his legs? Well, he's got braces on his legs. So the black braces that you can see running down his legs, they are to support his knees. So the knees, what they've done is they've stitched the growth plates on his knees. I'm going to put a photo up on the side here now, or not a photo, a diagram, sorry, I should say. So the reason we modified the growth plates on his knees, as you can see in that image there, his legs don't straighten fully. So basically the idea of stitching the growth plates is that as his legs grow and the growth plates start to merge together, it will allow his legs to completely straighten over time. So that aspect of his surgery will take a while to have effect. We don't know how long, absolutely no idea. It'll just be as he grows. And it will eventually get to the point where, from what I understand, his leg will hyperextend, and then they'll cut the stitches, and that will allow the legs to extend to that point, which, again, blows my mind how they can actually do that stuff. I don't know how they do, but they do. So that's what will happen with those braces. Now the blue foam in between his legs, we call that Reginald. He got the name, I don't know why, I was just being dad, because that's what I do, I say stupid things. So he's called Reginald, and Reginald is there to provide stretch on the abductor muscle. So effectively, as I mentioned right at the start of the video, they did literally put incisions in that muscle, and that's effectively a tear in the muscle, and you've got to keep it stretched to allow it to heal at its new length. So that wedge stays there for 23 hours a day. So we leave it in there as long as we possibly can to keep that stretch going on James's legs. And he loves it. The very, very first thing he realised when he got home and he's sitting on the couch in that photo there was that he's got an inbuilt cup holder. Yep. He's an engineering young man. He's made it work for himself. So he's got the two holes there. So when he's got his tablet, the cup gets moved to the lower hole near his feet. When he doesn't have his tablet, it's closer to him, because he's a smart man. So why wouldn't you make use of the equipment that you've got? But he absolutely loves it. Like he's super comfortable in it. I think it's a good feeling on his legs, keeping them stretched. He's probably never had that relaxed feeling in his legs before. So actually being able to use them and just have them there is really, really cool. Now he does normally sleep on his tummy. So one of the side effects of the first couple of days was because he was laying on his back in hospital. He got a couple of really, really big blisters on his heels because of all the extra weight effectively pushing his legs down as well, and they were probably a little bit restless while he was sleeping. He got some huge blisters on his heels, so we haven't been able to do standing transitions. He's allowed to weight bear and do all of that fun stuff, but we haven't been able to do that because we wanted to make sure that those blisters and pressure sores were well looked after. But the flip side to that is that now we're home, he can sleep on his tummy like he normally does, but because the wedge is quite sizable, it actually allows for more of a stretch. So effectively his, let me try and do this in the mirror, so his legs will be elevated up, which forces his hips to come down, putting more of a stretch on his quads and adductor muscles as well. So it's actually a bit of a double-edged sword on how to really put a lot of extra stretch on those muscles for a long period of time. And he's not disturbed at all at night. Like I think he finds genuine comfort in having it on. And it's so good to see him happy when he goes to bed laughing and having a joke, like he's not even wearing that equipment. Again, it's really cool, and the process now is to start weaning that off. So we will start to use that brace less and less as the muscles start to recover. But we'll see how that all goes and what that process looks like very soon. So this surgery, as I said, is all done. He's home. He's got his wedge on now. So day 3, we actually took the wedge off. We're allowed to take it off for about an hour a day. I mean, we take it off here and there to get him dressed and cleaned and showered and all that fun stuff. But he was sitting on the couch night 3. So the Saturday night after surgery, sitting on the couch, and we'd had the wedge off after a shower. And I looked over at him, sat there on the couch, and I'm just going to show you this first. have a look at those legs. They are, so that's sitting there relaxed. Now, that is how he looked in his wheelchair before, and that is how he looks now, just 3 days post-surgery. Obviously, it's a bit later than that recording it now, but his legs are like fixed already. They're straight, they're so relaxed, the muscles are doing what they need to do. It's unreal. He looks happy, he looks comfortable in his wheelchair, he looks happy just sitting there, whatever he's doing. So the plan now is to keep the wedge and the stretch going for about the next 4 to 6 weeks. And then we can really ease back into doing physio, Pilates, and working on enhancing those new muscles that he's got, which is super exciting for us. So, guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Like I said, a bit of a different video for today for us, but we are hoping to share some more of James's journey throughout the channel as he pops up again. But we do appreciate you guys, and the best way to help support our channel is to like, subscribe, and follow. There's his face right there. So if you do want to do that, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and there are. The best way to help support us is also to support Leukodystrophy Australia. So we are affiliated with Leukodystrophy Australia. We are members of them through James's condition. But any donations raised as a result of what you see on this channel or what we do through motorsport go directly to Leukodystrophy Australia. We don't receive any financial benefits or any special treatment from them. We are purely a voice to share our journey, to show you what some of these families go through, to raise awareness and help try and support some other families going through similar things to what we're going through. So stay tuned on YouTube, guys. You'll see some workout videos from James with his fresh new legs over the coming weeks and months as we start to get out and share this journey a little bit more with you guys. And once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you back on YouTube hopefully in a few days. We're going to do a live stream and get some more content up of some races that we've got coming up. So enjoy, guys, wherever you're watching from, and if you've got any questions, ask them below, and we'll get back to you and let you know. Anything, ask away. Happy days, guys. Cheers. You finished pressing all the buttons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.